Maclunky.
Welcome to round 5 Swiss of the Hex and NYC Planetary Qualifier, brought to you by Maclunky Gaming. Today, we have another thrilling bout between seasoned teammates, KTOD John Tata and Wooooo. Joining us with expert commentary are Tower Number 9 and Josh from Next Gen Gaming SC. Enjoy the match.
And Wooooo is more known for playing Qira, and that is what he's playing here. Yeah, Qira ECL.
Look, chat, you asked, and here we go. Claire hooking us up with exactly that matchup. John Tata versus Ophir or Wooooo from KTOD. And so
this
it's another
should be hype.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Another KTOD versus KTOD showdown, but this time not a mirror match. And it is going to be quite the boxing match between these two.
All right. Qira versus Jango. So Qira tends to be a more control. It's kind of interesting. Qira tends to be a more control-oriented deck, but does have the ability to turn the corner and start attacking pretty fast. One thing that can be especially strong for Qira is if you get the chance to do a Qira leader flip and then have her attack into a 3-power unit, which will leave her with 1 HP but 7 power thanks to grit. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Wooooo can pull that off. Qira attacking into Jango, for instance, would be very good for Qira under the right circumstances. But both players here very experienced, and I'll be excited to see what strategies they end up using.
No doubt about it. Now, John won the die roll, so he will start with the initiative here in the first game. But yeah, this should be an exciting matchup. Now, Qira is not super strong in the space arena, right? Most of these, these blue-green soft control type decks, they're not super strong in the space arena, but Qira did get a great unit to help her out in that regard with this set with that devastating gunship.
Yeah, Devastating Gunship is a very relevant card in my opinion. The ability to not only have a relevant stat line and grit, which goes well with Qira, but also to just immediately defeat an enemy unit when played. It's really good. It's probably also one of the best cards for Count Dooku. Um, I'm going to be interested to see whether we see that here. It looks like the players are getting started.
Yep, John with the initiative playing Crafty Smuggler, and then we see Dr. Pershing coming into play for Wooooo. John just retaining the initiative, so that Dr. Pershing could certainly start creating some card advantage here. Does John prioritize taking that out rather quickly? He plays the Elite P-38 Starfighter, dealing a damage to Pershing and exhausting Pershing, which means, at least in this round, we will not be able to get a card from Pershing. Wooooo following that play up with Super Laser Technician, and John does get into Wooooo's base for 2.
This is some Super Laser Technician is kind of a classic card for some of the green villainy builds. The ability to ramp up with that can be really useful, but it may be vulnerable to being exhausted or bounced if we have maybe a no good to me dead, a waylay, something like that from Tata.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if John prioritizes trying to do something with the Super Laser Technician, but no, we're going to see Wooooo with the initiative using Dr. Pershing right away to deal a damage to Super Laser Technician. It defeats it. He gets a ready resource and gets to draw a card, so that's a great play.
Yeah, interesting play from Wooooo. You know, you might think, oh, but why don't you just attack with the Super Laser Technician? But if he were to attack with it, it might give Tata the chance to exhaust his Dr. Pershing again, and I think Wooooo wants to get that card draw going.
Yeah, absolutely. Card advantage will
Oh, and
certainly
there's the Devastating
play.
Gunship we were just discussing.
Yep, devastating gunship coming in and defeating the Crafty Smuggler.
Yeah, Devastating Gunship played via the Energy Conversion Lab. It ambushes in and defeats the Elite P-38 Starfighter, and it uses its when played ability to defeat the Crafty Smuggler through the shield because it's a direct defeat effect that does not do damage. And now Wu is the only one with units on the board, but Tada still has some resources. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, he does have some resources left. And keep in mind, he also has Tarkin Town as well. So Tarkin Town could, in theory, take out either one of those units that currently are damaged.
That's a good point, Josh. As Goose Claws in chat there said, Wu made great use of Energy Conversion Lab with that Devastating Gunship play, but Tada can use his own base to clear out one of these units if he wants.
So John is going to play Greedo into the ground arena. That 3-power unit does threaten Pershing. The action is back over to Wu. And so Wu has he just claimed the initiative here? I believe he has just claimed the initiative. And Tarkin Town, epic action used to take out the devastating gunship, because that was quite the threat with that 3 damage on, and Grit, the devastating gunship, goes up to 6 power there. So John does play another unit in the space arena, Kylo's TIE Silencer. And now at the start of this
Yeah,
next
both
round, we'll
players
see.
using their bases early on in this game, but with fairly relevant effects here.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them getting great use out of their rare base. And Wu is going to go ahead and take advantage of Pershing, get another card before he gets defeated. So 3 damage on Pershing now. The action back on John. He is going to attack Wu's base for 3, putting the damage
Yeah,
total
not
up to
opting to clear
7.
Pershing with Greedo, instead just pushing more damage to the base. Oh, and another Devastating Gunship from Wu.
Back-to-back devastating gunships here in game 1. The Kylo's TIE Silencer defeated. And once again, board swings back into Wu's favor. Now, both leaders could be deployed at any point. We're going to see John go ahead and deploy Jango.
Yeah, flipping Qira here would have a very interesting effect also, because the damage that it does to all the units on the field would actually buff that Devastating Gunship by activating its grit, as well as providing a bit of healing here for Dr. Pershing, who had taken more damage than that.
Yeah, that
But
is a
we
great
could
point.
see Kira getting exhausted here by various effects.
And John is just going to attack into Wu's base for 3 with Jango. And now here comes Qira. You talked about it earlier, a 3-power unit that Qira is able to attack and defeat. Now 7 damage on Qira. She has 7 power now.
Yeah, quite strong. But if we see, I think that's a triple Dark Raid there from Tata. And if we see an Elite P-38 Starfighter or a Ruthless Raider, the when played effects on those could damage Kira and clear her off the board.
Yeah, so this could be a very big triple dark raid for John, because this board has swung heavily in Wu's favor. John needs a play to answer this, and we do see a Ruthless
There
Raider
is a
there.
Raider.
There's the play off of triple dark raid. He does have to pay 1 resource for that Ruthless Raider. It costs 5 less, 2 damage to Wu's base, and he is going to defeat Qira off of that when played ability. And
I
at
will
this
say,
point,
Tata feels ahead in this game to me right now.
yeah, he's in a good spot. He is going to go, well, he's
Yeah, he's
contemplating
pushing more
here.
damage to the base. I think 4 damage to base there. You maybe considering whether or not to clear that Devastating Gunship, but does end up pushing more damage to the base, and we're now up to 16 damage on Wu's base, only 9 HP left, while Tada's base is untouched.
Yeah, big turn there for John. Definitely a huge hit off of that triple dark raid to take Qira off the board, because that 7 power Qira is quite scary. Now, Wu does still have that damaged, devastating gunship over there, and with the 2 damage on, it is a 5 power. But we know that John has Ruthless Raider in hand. So that is at least another 2 damage that could be dealt to base and exhaust one of Wu's units. We see Perilous Position coming down, defeating Greedo. And Greedo with a miss on the when defeated trigger. It was not a non-unit card. And now John going to pay 6. Is it the Ruthless Raider that comes back in here? And it is Ruthless Raider coming back into play. 2 more damage to Woo's base and 2 damage to the Devastating Gunship. Devastating Gunship exhausted, has a ton of power now, but will not be able to be used here in this round.
Yeah, let's see. What will Woo cook up here?
And
Looks
Woo's
like he's
just
gonna
going
take
to,
initiative.
yeah, just
He
claim
doesn't
the
take the draw
initiative.
with Pershing. He just takes the initiative. I wonder if he's gonna go for the immediate trade here. The Devastating Gunship is buffed enough with grit that it could actually attack into the Ruthless Raider and trade. That is
Yep,
what we're gonna see.
that is
But
the
then the
play.
when defeated hits Dr. Pershing. Is Tada gonna use Django's ability to exhaust Pershing, or is he gonna save it?
Oh, that is a great question. So with that 2 damage to Woo's base, that's 20 damage on, just 5 HP remaining.
Yeah, he does exhaust. I think that's a good play. I don't think Woo's deck has very much stuff that comes into play ready. I think it probably actually doesn't have any of that. So exhausting Pershing there seems pretty reasonable. Oh, although I guess he pings Pershing off anyway with this ISB agent, so perhaps he didn't need to do that, but we'll see.
Yeah, so Pershing now defeated. Action back over to Woo. And he is going to play
Ooh,
Vigilance, defeating ISB agent and healing 5 damage from his base. And then look at this. John's going to play Fet's Fire Spray, which is threatening that 5 damage.
yeah.
Woo claims,
Five
and that
damage
5
goes right
damage,
back on Woo's
yeah,
base.
just like that. 20 damage back on. But
The
the
problem
Vigilance
the
was
problem with
important.
vigilance in these decks that are not double blue is that 6 is a lot of resources. So
Right.
Woo I think actually did have some cards that potentially answer Fet's Fire Spray, but was unable to play them. I think we saw maybe a Perilous Position in hand. And let's see if he plays that now.
Oh, it's going to be
No, it's
Fell
gonna be
the
a Fell the
Dragon.
Dragon, just killing the Fet's Fire Spray directly.
Yeah, so Fet's defeated, and here comes the on the
Oh,
doorstep. There it
there's
is.
that on the
3
doorstep we were
ready
discussing
tokens.
earlier. 3 battle droids take the field.
Oh, this is big because that's 3 damage. But remember, John showed a surprise strike in his hand last round when he played ISB agent, and we know that he's also running the hotshot blaster, armed to the teeth
Perilous
as well.
Position takes out one of the battle droids, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough. There's the
Nope.
surprise strike. That's 4 damage, and Wu just scoops. I guess
Yep,
he didn't
that's
have
it.
anything to deal with the other battle droid, so solid win from Tada. He was able to just pour on the aggression, and even though Wu had some good plays, he wasn't able to hold it back.
On the doorstep, coming in clutch. We talked a lot about it last round. We spoke to John about it in the interview, and it comes in to finish the game here in game 1 of round 5 at the Hex and Go Planetary Qualifier. John Tada off to a great start. And now the
Yeah,
players,
it's an interesting situation here, and it seems that the battle droids were able to seal the deal there.
yep. Well, you asked for it, Tower. You wanted to see on the doorstep, and not only did we see it, but it was what finished the game.
Yeah, there we go. Tokens are at least kind of real.
Absolutely. So John showing us what on the doorstep has been doing for him so far throughout this tournament. Both of these players undefeated, looking to get to 5-0 here in this round and have a very good shot at making an appearance in the top 8 later today. So it looks like John, once again, he's going to be, I think, bringing in Bazine again. Now, Tower, in this matchup, if Bazine comes in for John, what are like the big targets that we're looking for with Bazine?
Yeah, I think it's dependent on situational factors. But I think, one thing that you like later on in the game, one thing that you really don't want is for if the opponent's stabilized, you really don't want them to bring out a reinforcement walker. That unit can really pull them out of range. Earlier on in the game, if you're going first, there's Bazine plays to just try and blank your opponent's first turn. Maybe you don't want them to have that early Pershing. Maybe you play it on the first turn, you see they have some ramp component that you don't want them to get to. Uh, Overwhelming Barrage sometimes is a very crucial card. Removing that could be good. But I do think it kind of depends on situational factors. Sometimes that devastating gunship might be good to take out. I haven't played this specific matchup enough to know if there's like one of those things that's the ultimate, oh, I gotta save it for this. You do sometimes get those matchups where specific cards are so crucial that you have to save those sorts of denial effects there. Like I know back in the day, if you were playing a Chirrut deck, takedown was so bad for you that people would do stuff like, play regional governor and say takedown with no indication that the opponent actually had it, but you just like have to stave off that possibility because it's so bad for you. And I'm not sure if there's anything quite like that in this matchup as it stands.
Yeah, excellent points. But Bazine can certainly come in and instill some games in some spots. I mean, there are some times where, you find just the right card that your opponent needed. And, there are, as you mentioned, several very valid targets in this particular matchup. Now, game two, Wooooo is going to start with the initiative. And we did see Wooooo mulligan that opening hand. It always gives me a little bit of a nervous feeling when, when I've lost game one in a match, you're behind, and then you have to mulligan that opening hand because, it's all down to this, right? It's down to that final hand. You've got to get something here. You've got to win this game. And you're just hoping to not completely brick on an opening hand after making the mulligan. So Wooooo starting out with Inferno 4 in the Space Arena, and John repeating his turn one play from game one. He plays Crafty Smuggler. Wooooo is able to hold on to the initiative. And without that early Pershing, we won't see Wooooo get a lot of early card advantage as he did in the last game. Now, Wooo's going to ramp right away, though. He plays Resupply, going up to 4 resources. And then it looks like both players are going to trade 2 damage to each base.
Yeah,
John is
pretty straightforward early turns here. Inferno 4 is an interesting card though because it does allow you to see what's coming up and make some adjustments there. So not only when played, but also when defeated, we may see Wooooo sending some stuff to the bottom of the deck.
So John followed up the attacks with 7th Fleet Defender. Wooooo claimed the initiative, and he has the early answer for that 7th Fleet Defender. Perilous position, defeating the defender. Both players
Now
once
it
again
is funny.
trading.
Perilous Position has broadly replaced the card Make an Opening, which was often played kind of in its position earlier. But this is one of the situations where Make an Opening would have been better, as it would have also eliminated the defender, but it would have healed too. However, the Perilous Position is overall a more flexible card, and it makes sense why it's taken that spot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Now we see on the doorstep once again, this time it's here on turn 3. So getting 3 battle droids ready. And Wooooo goes ahead and deploys Qira. That does take the shield off of the Crafty Smuggler. And
One of
John
those battle
attack.
droids is going to swing into Qira and exhaust her.
Yep, Qira exhausted. Wooooo going to play top target on one of the other battle droids.
Yeah, top target, the healing bounty card. So it will allow you to heal for, I believe it's only going to be 4 in this case. It can heal for 6 if it's on a unique unit, but only 4 on a non-unique unit. However, 4 healing there is still a pretty good rate. If you compare it to the basic card Repair, which costs 1 to heal 3, top target, even on a non-unique, is still going to be better, although it does have some timing issues.
At the end of that last round, we did see John get 2 more damage into Woo's base. Woo was able to get the initiative. And Woo is going to start by attacking the Crafty Smuggler. Crafty Smuggler defeated. Qira now has that 7 damage on, so just 1 HP remaining, but she does have 7 power with the Grit ability.
Tada swings into Qira with the bountied droid. Um, they are going to trade at this point, and that does heal Woo's base for 4. Another resupply from Woo.
Wow, another resupply. So he's going up to 7 total resources now. He still has 3 ready here on this turn. The action back over to John. Just a battle droid in play. So now 3 damage on Woo's base.
Woo is actually ahead on damage dealt to base after that top target.
Yeah, that top target certainly turning the numbers into his favor now. And Jango is deployed. Woo plays Dr. Pershing. Pershing a little bit later here in game 2, but he has found his way back on the table.
Yeah, it's interesting here. I think if you're Tada, I could be wrong. If I'm Tada, I think I'm no. He goes for the kill on Pershing there. Brings out the hotshot blaster.
Yeah, so
Um,
John not wanting anything to do with that card advantage that Pershing was going to start giving Woo. The hotshot blaster allowing allowing Jango to attack for 5, defeating Pershing. Woo has claimed the initiative, and John will play Kylo's TIE Silencer.
yeah, there's now some real threats. Some real threats on the board for Tada. But Woo has ramped. Woo has ramped substantially and is actually ahead on HP on base. And he looks like Woo trades Inferno 4 for that silencer and keeps both cards on top. That's probably not what you want to see if you're Tada.
No, not at all. And those 2 cards, I believe, they were Vigilance and
Yeah,
the
one was Vigilance. I didn't
Reinforcement
see the
Walker.
other.
So 2 big healing cards. And look at this. This is probably one of the best cards against Jango Tarkintown. Woo opens up this round, now on 8 resources. After that trade, playing Supreme Leader Snoke, which just defeats the droid token.
Oh, but here's an answer from Tada. Sneak attack is going to bring out the Ruthless Raider, and here's the thing. Tada can use his Tarkintown to deal 3 damage to Snoke, and then when the Raider is defeated at the end of the turn, he can use the when defeated effect to do another 2 damage to Snoke and clear it out.
Yeah, that is a fantastic play because it was quite a bit of damage to Woo's base as well. He's got 14 damage on now.
11 HP remaining for Woo. The only unit on the field right now is a Jango Fett buffed up with that Hotshot Deal 44. This would be a rough time for Tada if Wu has a Power of the Dark Side.
So Woo just opening up with the Reinforcement Walker, discarding the top card, which was Super Laser Technician, to heal 3 damage from his base. So the damage total back down to 11. And now the action back on John. Now Woo is
Now,
pretty much
Reinforcement Walker is probably all Wu's got going this turn.
right,
So Tada
exactly.
can feel free to swing away and do big plays.
Yep.
There's going
The
to be
the door is open. So that's
oh, that's
5
cool.
damage.
Wu's gonna shield that Reinforcement Walker, which the shield itself is not necessarily that important or relevant. But the important thing about it is less I'm going to keep this unit alive and more I'm going to prevent this unit from being exhausted because Django's ability does not work if you deal damage to an opponent but it's blocked by a shield.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, following up the shield, John played another very big threat, Fett's Fire Spray, to deal another 5 damage to Woo's base. Woo has to heal here. He attacks with Reinforcement Walker, 6 damage to Jango, healing 3 from his base. Now the action back on John. He needs to deal 8 damage here, or excuse me, 7 damage. There's 5
He
with
needs to
Fett's
do 2
Fire
more.
Spray. Yep,
We could
2
see an
damage
overwhelming
shy.
barrage. No, it's vigilance.
Oh, that's a great play. Defeating Jango, healing 5 damage. Woo back down to 18 damage on.
All right.
Here comes another big play from John.
Oh.
Ruthless Raider, 2 more damage to Woo's base, 2 damage to Reinforcement Walker. Woo does have a Fell the Dragon, taking out Fett's Fire Spray, which means to win with 1 action next round, John would need a pump
It would
on
need to be a
Ruthless Raider.
surprise strike.
Yep, that's
Or some
absolutely
other attack
right.
buff. You know, he might have, for instance, breaking in or whatever that card is called.
Yep, breaking in. That's an option for sure. So John did claim the initiative. Does he have a pump in hand? Or is it going to be a multiple action game here? He pays 3.
I think we saw a No Good to Me Dead in hand for Tata. Exhausting that Reinforcement Walker might be. Oh, but there's
that's
the
good.
Elite P38, which is going to allow the exhaust with Jango's ability while also developing another unit.
Yeah, another space unit for John. Reinforcement Walker will not be able to heal here on this turn.
I
Now
think I
the
see a
action.
top target in Woo's hand, but I'm not sure if he has a way
Okay.
to actually kill a unit to get the resources from it. On the other hand, he's not going to get killed in 1 hit by a surprise strike here because, or presumably he's not, because if Tata had the surprise strike, he would have just taken the win already.
Right, and
There's the
there
top
is the
target.
top target. Yep. So now he's got to find a way to defeat that P-38 Starfighter to heal 4 damage. John is going to get in for 4. So just 1 HP remaining on Woo's base. And there is the devastating gunship to defeat the P-38 Starfighter, healing back to 20 damage on, which means once again, John is a pump shy of winning the game.
What a sequence here. Oh,
Oh, it's triple Dark
triple
Raid.
raid. This could be it.
If he finds any, because there's no cards left in Woo's hand. So if he finds anything, a vehicle unit that
A
enters ready,
raider
that
wins
would
the
be
game
it.
here, right? Yeah, there's the
That's
raider
it.
and there's the fist bump.
Ruthless Raider off of triple Dark Raid, dealing the fatal damage to Woo's base here in game 2. And John remains undefeated here at the Maclunky stream and undefeated at the Planetary Qualifier at Hex & Co. What a win.
Strong gameplay here from Tata. You know, we saw Woo, you know, fighting hard to stabilize, but even with double ramping into a reinforcement walker, he was not able to keep the board clear and heal up to escape from the pressure being put on by John Tata and that Jango Fett Tarkentown build. And we saw
Yeah,
some real healing from Woo too. You know, I think there were 2 top targets and a vigilance resolved that game. So definitely, definitely a situation where he wasn't exactly totally falling down or anything, but Tata was just able to put too much pressure on.
Thanks for watching and supporting Maclunky Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.